Today we are going to blacken armor. What we have is typical 17th century armor, which was the pikeman's armor, which consisted of the breastplate, backplate, and then tassets, which covered the groin. We also have a gorget, which went around the neck, and the cabesset helmet. Now, blackening the armor was a way of protecting it from rust. There are a couple of techniques used to do that. Is oil and heat, and the other is a cold bluing or blackening, and we're going to do the cold bluing and blackening. Now, the things that we're going to need to do this process is, first we must take off any residue oil or grease on the armor, because most of it comes with a coat of oil. And to do that, we're going to use a heavy-duty degreaser, engine degreaser you can get at any auto parts store, to take all the grease. So we will spray, let this dry, then wipe that off, get it completely clean. After we've degreased it, then we will apply the blackening material. We're using clean bore Black Magic, and you can get this at any online, Amazon, or any clean bore Black Magic. And then once the blackening is done, cleaned, and washed off, then you'll need to put a light coat of oil with a light oil. In this case, we're going to be using sewing machine oil, but gun oil or any light oil will do. Don't use WD-40 because it's really not an oil. Recommended sewing machine oil. Now, for safety precautions, we're going to need a couple of things. One is it's recommended that you wear safety goggles throughout this process, and because it's toxic, you should really wear a mask. So we'll be wearing a mask. You'll need rubber gloves, and once you start spraying, you never want to take these off until you're completed, because you don't want any of your fingerprints or anything on it will spoil the bluing, so we need to be wearing gloves. A sponge to put the blackening on, and then sets of rags to dry off the degreaser, and then to dry off the armor. So, and you want several sets of rags. We're going to be rinsing off the blackening agent in a bucket of water. You should use warm water. Because I'm doing it outside, I'm adding some boiling water to just the water from the garden hose. So we're about ready to get started, and the first step then will be to degrease the armor. During the degreasing process, you want to spray each piece liberally with the degreaser, and then move on to the next piece, allowing, once you're completed, everything to dry. Be sure you're wearing your mask and your rubber gloves during this entire process. As part of the degreasing process, once the armor has dried, then you want to take a clean rag and wipe off each piece thoroughly. It's important that every bit of residue of the degreaser off. You'll also notice that I have put masking tape on the leather strapping of the armor, both when I degreased it and then throughout the process, and we won't take that tape off until we're done. During the bluing process, you want to apply the bluing, the Black Magic, to your sponge, and then using smooth, steady strokes across the length of the armor, apply the blackening agent. And you can see almost immediately it starts to turn very black. Now, you may want to go back over the piece to spot any places that you've missed, and then you move on to the next piece of the armor. You want to be careful not to have the blackening agent on the armor more than 30 minutes before you rinse it off. During the rinsing process, you want to use warm water. I've used in the bucket, I've used water from the tap and then added boiling water to get it to be warm. And then thoroughly dunk and rinse off all of the armor so that every piece is completely rinsed. After the armor is completely dried, then you want to apply a light coat of oil with your sewing machine oil. And then you want to rub it into the armor so it'll absorb into the steel. And once you've done one coat, you may want to apply another. It begins to have a very nice patina after you applied the coat of oil. Here you have the completed, fully blackened armor.